Land disposal. The most common form of disposing of hazardous waste occurs at land disposal sites such as landfills, waste piles, land treatment units, or surface impoundments. The primary goal with land disposal is to permanently contain the waste and prevent the release of harmful pollutants to the environment. This is usually done by burying the waste in special places like landfills or waste piles. The main goal is to make sure the waste stays there forever and doesn't leak harmful chemicals into the surroundings. Storage. Storage of hazardous waste refers only to the holding of waste for a temporary period of time before it is treated, disposed, or stored elsewhere. Depending on the type of hazardous waste that you will be storing or transporting prior to placing it in an RCRA-compliant facility, waste storage must adhere to hazardous waste regulations. So the process of storage of hazardous waste is like keeping these dangerous materials in a secure place for a short period of time until they can be taken to a special waste facility. This storage period is temporary, meaning it won't be there forever. Underground injection wells. Underground injection wells are used primarily for disposal of liquid hazardous materials. Underground injection wells are also regulated according to the Safe Drinking Water Act due to their potential impact on drinking water resources. These wells are like big straws that go down into the earth. We carefully pump the liquid waste down through these straws and into special rock layers deep below the ground. These rock layers act like a natural barrier, keeping the waste isolated and preventing it from mixing with our clean drinking water sources. Types of disposal facilities. Hazardous waste facilities are organized by the types of hazardous materials they are able to process. Some facilities handle the recycling and disposal of batteries, others specialized in plastics, fluorescent lighting, infectious waste, metals, solvents, or substances such as oils, and antifreeze. How to find disposal sites. Most states' government websites, in conjunction with our Department of Toxic Substances Control or equivalent department, will provide lists of disposal sites according to the materials they are capable of processing. While many municipalities offer some form of hazardous waste disposal depending on the type of waste, you may have to look to neighboring countries to find a facility appropriate to your hazardous waste disposal needs. Radioactive waste. Radioactive waste are waste that contain radioactive material. Radioactive waste are usually byproducts of nuclear power generation and other applications of nuclear fission or nuclear technology such as research and medicine. The reason we need to be careful with radioactive waste is that it can be harmful to living things and environment. It gives off a type of energy that can be dangerous to our health and the ecosystem if not handled properly. Radioactive contamination, also called radiological contamination, is the disposition of or presence of radioactive substances on surfaces or within solids, liquids, or gases, including the human body, where their presence is unintended or undesirable. It is essential to prevent this from happening because exposure to radiation can harm living things, including people and the environment. To avoid radioactive contamination, we need to handle radioactive materials carefully and make sure they are kept in secure places. Proper safety measures are necessary to prevent any accidental release of radioactive substances into places where they could cause harm. Airborne contamination. The air can be contaminated with radioactive isotopes in particular form, which possess a particular inhalation hazard. Respirators with suitable air filters can mitigate this danger. Airborne contamination is measured by specialist radiometric instruments that continuously sample the air and filter. To protect ourselves from this danger, we use special masks called respirators with air filters. These filters help to stop the radioactive particles from getting into our lungs when we breathe. Internal human contamination. Radioactive contamination can enter the body through ingestion, inhalation, absorption, or injection. For this reason, it is important to use personal protection equipment when working with radioactive materials. Radioactive contamination may be also ingested as the result of eating contaminated plants, and animals on drinking contaminated water or milk from exposed animals. After a significant radioactive contamination event, we need to consider all the possible ways that radioactive materials could enter our bodies. By understanding these potential pathways, we can take appropriate measures to minimize the risk of internal exposure and keep ourselves safe from the harmful effects of radiation.